what's going on, guys? So today we're talking about the best. That was a really bad. There we go. The best-selling cards or products in all of Yu-Gi-Oh. I do want to shout out the gate. $55 on the newest booster box feels really, really good. I do want to mention this too, because it was in a comment on my video about seller ethics. This person said that they did one of these, right, the unopened thing, and I don't trust them. I don't trust these at all. Not even a little bit do I trust these. But they were saying it felt a little sus. You know what I mean? It was a little weird. The polls were really, really, really bad. I just wanted to, because I know not everybody that sees this video saw that comment, so I just wanted to reiterate what that comment said, that they actually went, it's unfortunate they had to be the guinea pig, but they actually went and bought these unopened ones. So if you've been considering or contemplating it, just get a regular box. Even going to your local TCG or your local card shop. I have one that's just like not even, 10 minutes away from me. Just going down the road and swinging in and saying, hey, you got any Duelist Nexus? Yeah, we're selling it. They usually sell it at around TCG lowest, right? So you can usually get a pretty good value on it by buying it in person, right? So as far as this set, though, is concerned, I think that there's a reason why this set is not like at the $60 or $70 mark, and it's sitting at that $50 mark. And I think the main reason is this, like, there's not like a lot of great chase cards in here, right? Like if we switch this from best selling to price low to high, Magician of Bonds and Unity isn't that like great of a card, and the cat really wants to be in the video. It's okay. Like, must be somebody having 25 or more cards in your graveyard while your opponent has 25 or more cards in your graveyard. Like, that's okay, but like it's not like Zeus's Starlight Rare, right? Or when we look at, Pearly Noir has shown to be a really solid boost for the deck. This sort of like second surgence of Pearly, because Pearly did take a step back because of the ban list. And this card's definitely helped out a lot. So, and the thing is too, like, I've never bought a Starlight Rare. I've never bought a Prismatic Ultra Fantastic. Like, I've never bought a Yu-Gi-Oh card that costs over $100. Like, I think regardless of rarity, or like regardless of like if this is the highest rarity of the card, like I've never done that before, and maybe I should. Maybe this like probably looks really cool. It looks really cool, right? But I think like, this isn't over $100 either. I don't know if it's like worth it though. Like, a lower rarity version of the same card does the exact same thing. And as like card games sort of mature and there's going to be more that are on the relatively budget side, I just wonder if like these high-end chase cards, if they're still going to be if they're going to be more on the $45 mark, because like target one face-up monster on the field, place it in its owner spell and trap zone as a continuous spell. It's a really good. That's actually a really good form of removal. But then when we look at the other quarter century rares, I'm pretty sure. Okay, there's also Emperor Charles, which is actually also a really good quarter century rare. But this is the lowest quarter century rare, right? So like, yes, the Synchron stuff came out in here. Oh, I guess there's more quarter century stuff. Oh, the Evil Sword. What is the lowest quarter century rare? Okay, one second, because I thought I saw it, but I did not. Oh my goodness. There's 2 pages. And this is a big thing too. Like, these sort of like amazing ultra rarities that we've never seen before. Like, when you do it a bunch of times, they start to lose their value, right? That's why like Ghost Rare is such a great rarity, right? Because there hasn't been a lot of them. But then they have Ghosts from the past back to back. And they like are kind of almost devaluing Ghost Rares by having more of them, right? Supply and demand type thing. And like, the main thing that I'm trying to get with all of this is the fact that, like, I think the reason Duelist Nexus isn't doing super hot is because the chase cards aren't being chased. The rest of Duelist Nexus is concerned. Like, it's just, there wasn't like even like Vanquish Souls is a really good archetype. You know, that quality of archetype's not really in here. Like, the Visas archetype is okay, Unchained is okay. You know, there's a new Dark World card, I didn't know that. The Evil Source stuff though wasn't very good, right? This, you know, like the new Pearly card, the new Red Eyes card are solid for their archetypes. The Illusionist stuff, like the Chimera stuff, is okay. But I think the Ultra Guy stuff too. I forgot the Ultra Guy stuff is in here too. None of it's making a really high impact on the meta, to my knowledge, right? Like, I think, you know, if we just take a look at, we switch back over to best selling, from Duelist Nexus, like Revolution Synchron, really cool that Synchron got some support. But as you notice, no articles talking about it's in this deck, it's in this deck, it's in this deck. You know, that topped this deck, that topped Dark Corridor. That's another one. Great Dark World card. No tops, right? And yes, the what is exactly competitive doesn't always positively correlate with the meta, right? But this card's in some meta decks right now. Pearly's been topping with this card, but it's still, like, the main thing that the too long didn't read of the whole thing is, like, there's no such thing as a sure thing. And, like, you would think the newest set being worth $55 is actually good value. I don't know if you're going to get your value there unless you pull Revolution Synchron and are able to sell it, right? Because regardless of how much a card costs on TCG Player, it's not how much it costs that is how much you're going to get. It's how much you can sell it for. That's how much you're going to get, right? And so when it comes to a Duelist Nexus, just buyer beware. There's a definite possibility that you won't see a return on your investment, a solid return on your investment, if you do spend the $55. But there's also a solid chance that you will, because these are all best selling. The best selling cards in all of Yu-Gi-Oh right now, like, the number one best selling card is Duelist Nexus. Number two best selling card is Duelist Nexus, right? Because even though these aren't very meta relevant, and this one's a little more meta relevant because of its interaction with branded, the fact still remains that, like, the casual player base is going to boost this up. So essentially what I'm saying is, this, if you are going to get a booster box because it's only $55 and you figure why not, it's only $60, that's, drop in the hat, just buyer beware. I would almost even recommend just waiting, because we have seen sometimes, like, weaker sets actually become really good sets over time, and that could be the case with Duelist Nexus, because it's definitely a weaker set, right? It's definitely earned the $55 mark, but that's fine. I'm cool with Yu-Gi-Oh cards being cheaper, by all means. Like Pot of Prosperity at 40, is that a good spot? I mean, it's kind of been going up recently. I don't know. I think Pot of Extravagance does a lot of similar things. Pot of Desires has relatively no restrictions, and gets you the exact same amount of cards. Actually gets you more. I understand some decks can't run Pot of Desires. Pot of Avarice gets you a lot of cards. Upstart Goblin gets you a card. I just don't ever think Pot of Prosperity is worth it. This is another Duelist Nexus card, Crimson Dragon. Lupellion was doing a lot of great things at Yu-Gi-Oh! Worlds. The Dragon Link, Dragon Control, Bestial stuff has always been really, 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 really good, and it always will continue to be really, really, really good. But this card's definitely going to get a reprint soon, so I don't think it's that great of a buy. If I'm being honest with you, I don't think it's that great of a buy. This is interesting. I'm curious about this box. It's at pre-sales. Listen, if you need pre-sales for a reason, like you got a Yu-Gi-Oh channel that you do it for, or you want to make sure you put the stuff as soon as it comes out, then buy it. But I never really seen pre-sales work out to where you buy it at pre-sale and you end up selling it for more money. It's really more of a convenience thing that you get it so quickly, right? I am curious about the Ultimate Rare from Tournament Pack 22. Actually, let's go here a little bit. Thrust is a $115 card. Pearly's doing pearly things. This actually, I know we don't usually talk about penny stocks. This actually could be really solid. Because if I'm remembering correctly, Branded Lost only has one other printing, and it's a common. Yeah, from the Albert Strike Structure deck. So I would just be on the lookout for the OTS version of Branded Lost, because it's actually a really good card for an actually really good archetype. Reprinting a Summon Limit. Summon Limit's always been a relatively decent card depending on your archetype that you're playing. Obviously the ultra rare is the most expensive. There's a few commons though that were usually at like $1.50 mark, and now that they're all under 50, now is probably the best time to get Summon Limit, because you just never know. Like, there are very few decks that can run Summon Limit, but if your deck is one of them, you should be playing it, right? Because a lot of times Summon Limit's similar to Anti-Spell, where it ends up hurting you just as much as it hurts the opponent. But there are some decks, none that are coming to mind right now. I mean, like Fire Kings kind of can run it, but like I think with the new support, you're gonna end up summoning 3 or 4 times. Like Fire Kings definitely don't get hurt by Nibiru, but I think they definitely can't play Summon Limit anymore. But they still might be okay, right? So Fire Kings comes to mind. Obviously, Cinch Realm, you know what I mean? Each time you Sacro Summon, inflict 500 damage to your opponent. That's crazy that's in an ODS pack in 2023. But getting back to Branded Fusion, once again, a really good card and a really good archetype. And I was talking about this on the penny stock market watch. I was talking about Branded Opening. This archetype is really good, right? And the thing is, it's sort of like the thing I've been talking about a lot as of late, and just in general. It's sort of like Super Heavy Samurai. Wasn't really Super Heavy Samurai. It was like Super Heavy Samurai meets Machina. Ancient Gear was in there. Infitrack was in there. There's a lot, right? And then also like Sun Avalon Rika, is also running like Lone Fire and World Caraway Champion. Not really, but like you understand what I'm meaning. Like Dragon Link. We were just talking about dragons. There are so many archetypes that are based around a certain type, right? Whereas this and like Drytron's kind of like the ritual version of that, where we're running like Heralds and Cyber Angels and Drytrons. And Branded, in a lot of cases, whenever there's a new set of fusion support, unless it's Elemental Hero, it goes in the Branded archetype, right? And that used to be the case with the Invoked package, right? Because Invoked has Magical Meltdown and Alistair the Invoker and all the attributes, but Branded has kind of just power crept it and out of existence. And so now Branded is the new thing where if a fusion archetype comes out in, let's say November or next January, it will probably have some synergy with Branded Fusion. And just Branded in general, because Branded is really solid. I know right now it gets ran a lot with Despia. I've seen the Illusionist package in there as well. Branded is a really good archetype, and this OTS could be a really good buy. Now, it's $80 for a $0.60 card, right? And this super rare version does look really nice. Right, so you might have a tough time selling it, but I think that over time, this version will start to creep up into that $80, $90, $100 mark where we see Thrust is already at. I don't think Thrust is going to get banned, but I still don't think Thrust is necessarily speaking a good buy, even though the Ultimate version is very expensive. And it is a good card. And we look at best-selling cards like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6 and 7 best-selling cards are the 2 different versions of Triple Tactics Thrust. So that could be an indication in and of itself that it's a really good buy. For me, I have a tougher time saying, "Oh, you gotta buy this card," when it's like an $80 to $120 card. You know what I mean? But like I always say, spend your money how you feel. If you think that the Duelist Nexus The Duelist Nexus box is going to be worth $100 in a year or in 2 years or what have you, go crazy. Go bananas. BANANAS. Just be ready for the risk, right? If you are worried about Chimera the Phantom Beast being a $20 card soon, because that is a possibility, because I do see this card a lot. And this is sort of, I looked at the Illusionist archetype. This is sort of like the most expensive card in that. Like, I mean, like literally we're looking at like pennies for just about everything else. And then this card, right, is sitting at 15. So maybe you're worried like, oh, I want to get my playset now before it's any more expensive. Then do that. I don't think that's a good idea, but you're allowed to do that, right? If you think Triple Tactics Thrust is just getting started with how expensive it's going to be, then go crazy, right? I think like, I think Branded Fusion could actually be a really good buy, even though it's an $80 card for a 60-cent card. This boy, I don't think he's gonna dodge ban list again. I don't think Cashier Fender is gonna dodge ban list again. But I will say, it got first at the North American WCQ. I will say that let me go here. It was a 50. Let's just do the full year. It was a 50s. It was a $70 card for about a year, and then there was sort of this like, is it going to get banned type vibe, and it got all the way down to about $25, and then it didn't get banned, right? And when it was here, I think I said it like 2 or 3 weeks in a row, if not more. Just be on the lookout if Fenrir doesn't get banned or limited, it's going to shoot up in value. Now, deja vu, right? It's at $28, right? I don't think a ban list is going to come out anytime soon. I think October feels like this is a month that gets tossed around a lot. I know Duel Links just got a ban list. I don't know if there's any correlation there at all. There's usually not, but just in case there is. If this card misses the ban list, it's going to go back up in value. It's an amazing card. It's a better version of Pankratops. But because it's a better version of Pankratops, that's why I think it's going to get hit. Also, it searches itself. So I think Cashier Fenrir being at 1, that's going to make the value go down a lot. And, of course, the reprint thing, right, in the Megatins, right? We always talk about that. I hope this is in there, too. Like, it's crazy to me. This was like, I clicked on the wrong one. This was like, this secret rare was like a $50, $60 card. Maze of Memories reprints comes out, right? Which is what brought us here, right? One of the best selling cards in the entire, TCG market of Yu-Gi-Oh. Was it really $8 a week ago? Wait, that's crazy. But still, like, I think a lot of people, myself included, thought it would be cheaper. I'm trying to see where it's like went up in value, because here it is. So yeah, last week of July it was like a $10 card, and now it is shot to the moon. But this is what happens a lot of times, and so this is just something we were just talking about actually with Cashier Fenrir. Cashier Fenrir is a really good card, really great card, right? It might get hit on the Forbidden and Limited list. It might get a reprint. If it doesn't get hit on the Forbidden and Limited list, but does get a reprint, right? Just be on the lookout, because like we just saw with Guardian Chimera, the reprint was $8 a week ago, and I should have bought it then. But now it's $20 more expensive, right? And has it hit its ceiling? Probably not. That's the wild thing. Probably not, because both versions, like this Maze of Memories version is sitting at around the Battles of Chaos version. They could both start creeping up together. We've seen that a lot. And like I said, there might be another reprint at some point soon. But we've seen this with a lot of cards like Ash Blossom and Joyous Springs. It took a very long time for Ash Blossom to be a budget-friendly card. It was like reprint, and it was still like a $20 card. There was like 9 copies, and there was still $20 card. And then they dropped the Legends of the Crystal Beast and Beware of Trap Trick Structure Deck, which both had Ash Blossom and Joyous Springs in them. Now I will say, right? Not a doomsday type vibe. I'm just going to say this real quick. Could go up in value again because both of these structure decks just came out and they're getting pulled off the shelves. I did like a 10-minute you should buy this type thing with the Beware of Trap Trick structure deck. If you guys saw that, you know, I mentioned how I think structure decks are just insane in value. I don't know if this one's going to be there, though. This is crazy, though. $6? $6 is a little crazy, though. Like, this is knocking on the door. This is probably the cheapest structure deck on the market right now. Let's see, actually. We'll go back. All the way back. A lot of times I end up tangenting, talking about this thing, and now I'm talking about that thing. If you guys like that sort of comment, let me know by hitting that like button and that subscribe. I always find myself tangenting a lot of times, but I find it easy to follow because I think a lot of people have like ADHD. I almost called it ACDC. That's the ADHD talking. But booster vice seal products, fat packs, structures. Can I not? Okay, I guess I gotta go here. So if you're ever, I think it should be under the advanced searching spot. And if you're ever in need of a way to find, can I not search by structure deck? That's crazy. Collector's tins, promos, box sets, starter decks, structure decks. I cannot. That is crazy. I can't sort by structure deck. That's unfortunate. But I still would guess, at least venture to guess, that as we're just wandering around here, this Crystal Beast structure deck is probably Crystal Best. The Crystal Beast structure deck is probably the cheapest structure deck on the market right now. And I honestly should have just gone to, there it is. And there's a lot of really good cards in here for Crystal Beast in this structure deck. And then there's Ghost Bell reprint, D-Shifter, Cosmic, Foolish Goods, and Ash. Even Melody of the Awakening Dragon. So this, I mean, you can get a box for $40. Like, I don't know, man. Like, the Blue Eyes structure deck has the old one, like the old one from like 20 years ago, has like some of the worst return on investment I've ever seen. Like, when it first came out as a $10 card, and now 20 years later, it's like a $9 card. It's a $9 structure deck, right? And like, I think that's the lowest the structure deck could be. Like, the fact that the Crystal Beast structure deck is selling for $6, you can get a case for $40, feels like really good value there. But like I always say, spend your money how you feel. The reason we were talking about Ash is the same. It was essentially just to talk sort of about Guardian Chimera, if we can go back far enough, because we're in the Duelist Nexus stuff now. And I think the biggest thing is, like, just watch market trends is sort of what I'm talking about. Like, I don't like to just say, I think this card's going to go up in value because it's really good, or I think this card's going to go up in value because it's really, because it's getting played a lot, or I think this card's going to go up in value because I, think it's really good, or I think it's going to go down in value because I think it's really bad. I like to compare it to market trends, and there have been a lot of cards that have gotten reprinted, and this goes for Cashier Fenrir and Guardian Chimera, that have gotten multiple reprints. Baron de Fleur is another one that, like, I was really excited about the reprint in Maze of Memories, but now both copies are just $58. Right? So just be on the lookout for that type of thing. As we are nearing the Megatins, you might be worried about reprints for a Fenrir, or for a Lubellion, or for even a Pot of Prosperity. But just because they get a reprint doesn't mean the card's going to go way down in value. But let me know what you guys think in those comments down below. Make sure you guys click that like button to show your support for the channel. Subscribe for even more content. But most importantly of all, have a good day.